Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
When choosing a dentist for our family, Tupelo Smiles was the answer for us. They greet us with warm smiles right when we walk in the door, and they make us feel so welcome. We love Tupelo Smiles.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 5.
Well, welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 5. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon on what is a maybe active day. There are major questions in my mind as to whether or not many of us will see any storms today, which is part of the reason why that severe risk areas we talked about earlier today has been trimmed back. A process that we do anticipate is a sign that many of us are probably not going to see a lot of significant active weather. In saying that, though, there's a tornado watch just to the northeast of the area. We will look at those spots, whether or not that builds into our area of storms, as we've talked about last couple of days, kind of originating in North Mississippi, moving out and strengthening as they do. Is it possible that we end up in the wrong spot of the way that interaction works? We'll look at that in more detail here in just a minute. Major cold front arriving this weekend. These initial storms on kind of front number one, the one behind this is pretty potent, and maybe that's a kind way to put it. We are talking about a pretty substantial drop in temperatures as we look into especially your Sunday, but really more Monday of next week. In the coldest air of the season is had some mid-20s out there for low temperatures. It's going to get rather chilly, so be thinking ahead and preparing ahead as far as that's concerned. I had a question earlier today. Does that mean it's cold enough that we need to start dripping the pipes? I think that might be pushing it, but we're not far off from that. That is not an issue tonight. And honestly, when we look at this is potential on the coverage of mainly showers, but maybe some thunderstorms. In the first 12 here, we're 20% at 6 p.m., and that is already overdone, I think, looking at our future cast here. We will say at maximum 30% on that coverage by midnight or so, probably through around 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning is our peak as storms, or more than anything, showers kind of progress out of here after that point and time. Well, let's kind of look at this in more detail here. First off, talking about the severe threats. And again, as we've said over and over again the last couple of days, that this is not, we think, any kind of significant tornado threat. And as far as that's concerned, any kind of significant severe weather threat, but we're kind of on the edge of something slightly more significant to our north and east in particular. So hail, at this point, probably one of our biggest potentials. But even then, you got to look for something that even resembles it. Because here's the thing. Outside in Fulton, looking back toward the west, we show what are largely flat clouds. I'm going to look northward into that tornado watch. And see, there's just no vertical development at all on these clouds. See how flat? I mean, they're just like sheets of paper there. If we were in an unstable atmosphere, we'd expect to see vertical development. We don't have that. So we're thinking as this front moves in, as upper level winds kind of kick in, maybe a couple storms, but honestly, most of these are way, way below severe limits. I mean, another shot of that in Pontotoc, we're 72. We're pretty warm there. And that dew point, that measure of moisture coming in the lower 60s at that point there. If that were mid 60s, that were upper 60s, we'd have real concerns. Thankfully, because of that, we don't. And let's look at Mississippi Live Weather Radar here to kind of talk about this. We'll go wider here for just a moment to kind of get the overall shot. Fairly wide here across the region as we're setting the stage with this front that is moving in from the north and west. And so this will initiate with storms in some spots this evening. This is that stronger front that'll bring much cooler air as we look toward tomorrow. To the north and east, you see that tornado watch back out here, including locations around Nashville. And this is in effect, as you note there, for spots to the north of us into this evening. I'll bring it here to the latest scans, as you can see, until 10 p.m. Now, notice how the way the Storm Prediction Center drew this, they included a corner there up in Tishomingo County. But I'm going to kind of mess with things here, so give me just a second to do that. As we change over the type of watches, give me just a second, as I'm going to go back there, and we're going to kick this off to where it's just counties and zones. And I'm going to kick this back to the current here. You'll notice they clipped off locations up there in Tishomingo County. So again, this tornado watch beginning just outside of our area, and for the exact same reason we've talked about the last couple of days, the potential that maybe a few thunderstorms strengthen more as they move out. Looking at that risk area for today, again, it does include locations in the northeast part of the state, as you can see there. And I'm going to clear off again that tornado watch information there. But you'll notice just the northeast part of the state in particular, most in that zone where maybe we could see it just right along the Mississippi-Alabama state line. And of all the different severe weather criteria, for most of us, I think wind and maybe some hailstones would be the primary concern. So let's look kind of at the wide shot here at Futurecast for a moment, and we're going to get real nitty-gritty on this here in a second. Notice there is a big difference in class between what we have to the east, even southeast, but to the east and versus what we have overhead, right? This is way more significant. And so that is where, again, the more significant severe weather is, just northeast of us. But because we're on the developmental zone, and that, by the way, if you watched us at 5, 6, and 10 last night, or even Maggie this morning, that looks a lot more impressive than any of the projections still had, as anticipated. But for us, because we are right where things are developing, even behind this little boundary you see here, we don't really show many of the reds or yellows or oranges with this, a sign that most of these storms should be way below severe limits. But there are a few that get really close again to maybe Tishomingo or Itawamba County there as they're kind of developing and moving toward the east that certainly bear some watching here. So you'll notice by tomorrow morning, even perhaps a few isolated showers still kind of lingering. We do keep percentages in a very limited fashion for tomorrow. But even though this front's kind of nudging in, there's a bigger push of cold air behind it. So we're ahead of that tomorrow. As you can see, we keep around some of the mid-70s even through 3 p.m. for tomorrow in the afternoon. Maybe we're overdoing it there, showing a couple of sprinkles on that icon. But the thinking is most of us are dry, as a few showers could possibly pop back up in the afternoon along that front. We'll look at that in more detail here in just a minute. Speaking a minute, coming up here in 60 seconds, we're looking at your SEC football forecast. We're kind of breaking down in more detail with the Mississippi Live Weather Radar where some of those shower chances are the most likely, kind of going in depth on the high resolution version of that. And of course, working way all the way into what is a pretty substantial freeze ahead as Mississippi Live Weather at 5 continues here from the Room to Room Weather Center right after this.
When you've been injured, don't settle for a lawyer who doesn't even know where you live. Call Langston and Lott. Local lawyers, personal service, real results.
This roof's getting installed with our premium roofing system. Backed by our 50-year warranty. And there's a 0% financing, no payment for 6 months options that this customer utilized. If you're looking for a new roof and you need an affordable option, call Absolute Restoration.
At Room to Room, there's no need to wait. Black Friday deals are going on now.
Discover our gift shop full of treasures, Peter's Pottery, Votivo, and Tyler Candles, kitchen essentials, and more. All in stock now.
Room to Room Tupelo, where we know there's no place like your home.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's Mississippi's Chief Meteorologist, Matt Lobhon.
Well, there's no magic line here between what's going on up in Lauderdale County and Tishomingo County. The difference just here is National Weather Service saying, hey, we're going to go include Lauderdale County, the folks in Huntsville, under this tornado watch for this evening that extends until 10 p.m. But if you look on the wider shot here, I see virtually nothing that has developed in the northern part of the state at this instant. In saying that, though, a couple little showers may be getting closer to trying to develop up here, generally in the neighborhood of Myrtle. But the thinking is that this will be a zone here where we do see some development over the next couple of hours. So I'm going to go into full-on clear air mode on this. Give me a second to kind of tweak the radar to show basically all of the different returns. And yeah, that is unimpressive. And it's a sign that storms are going to really struggle in our area in Mississippi to develop and produce severe weather before they move out into Alabama. So could it happen? Yes. But I mean, that's a good sign there that things have a pretty large uphill battle to work against before something more significant occurs. As we discussed a minute ago, that severe risk, that primary severe risk is to the north and east in this yellow zone. That's where you're most likely to see some severe reports. And we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings out that direction there. A limited tornado threat. That's the reason that watch is in place. Hail, I mean, sometimes when these storms are developing and they eventually try to produce tornadoes, they might produce some hail in our area on the development end. But really, honestly, under impressed on what we are seeing related to the storm potential out of these storms. I mean, just a perfect example of that. I mean, every one of our cameras is rather unimpressive. But let's come to Smithville here for just a moment as we kind of pop that up for a second on what are fairly flat clouds. And flat clouds are important if you get vertical development. It's like, hey, we have a situation here where we need to definitely be on guard. These are flat clouds there. So that's a sign that the atmosphere has an uphill battle before it produces anything of significance. And hopefully that remains the case as well. As we bring it in here and kind of look ahead again, the forecast over the course of the next 24 hours and that day planner for tomorrow, you'll notice that we'll continue obviously early in the day as that populates in here to be dry. Better chances maybe for limited chances for rainfall as we head toward tomorrow, maybe in the afternoon. I think we'll have some pre-dawn, again, fairly light, but most of us are probably going to be in the dry category again on your Saturday. So let's walk hour by hour through that Futurecast. And notice there is a difference between now where even Futurecast doesn't have much, and it hasn't the last couple of days. And we see a little bit more development here, stretching from Boonville back toward New Albany, Water Valley, and Greenwood by around 7 p.m. That's what we were looking at a moment ago on Mississippi Live Weather Radar, is the beginnings of this. So the atmosphere the next couple of hours becomes more likely to produce some thunderstorms. But I think even then, the chances are rather unimpressive. So let's watch this. We're at 8:30 here. Notice the difference. Reds and yellows, potential severe weather under locations that are near or under that tornado watch to the north and east. Storms strengthening as they move eastward. If you watched us at our update at midday, we had a few of these thunderstorms up here in Tishomingo, Prentiss County that were strong. This shows, again, most of those even a county farther east than that. A sign that things are working our direction, and hopefully most of us miss out on this potential. You can see up there toward Hazel Green and north of Huntsville, where the models get a little bit stronger. And yes, it does. I mean, obviously here with this front, try to depict maybe that one little storm here close to Red Bay, and don't get too shocked if it's not at that exact spot, but an idea that we'll have maybe a couple of thunderstorms that do strengthen in our area before they move out to the north and east. But you'll notice the overwhelming majority, 99 out of 100 of these, don't. So it's a good sign that hopefully this evening, most of us stay well below severe limits, damaging limits as far as storms are concerned. Isolated showers continue to develop. Again, we have that frontal boundary easing through. So I wouldn't be shocked to hear overnight rumbles, but I also honestly would be pretty surprised to see any significant severe weather out of what happens overnight. Temperatures don't drop a whole lot. We're mid 50s to upper 50s out there for early Saturday morning. Our normal this time of year, as you can see, 44. So way below that, the 60 there in Greenville and Belzona, a sign of that moisture that's kind of returned to the area. But don't worry if you're looking for colder. We got a lot more of that coming up. As you can see on Futurecast here, we're 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and there's a couple of little showers trying to pop up somewhat heavier down there closer to Aliceville. And this again with the kind of first front moving through the area that we've kind of watched stall out. As we go into your Saturday there, and again, we'll talk about SEC football here in a minute, we still have that moisture lingering, but we have a much stronger front moving toward us that will try to engage some of that. But you can see even in Alabama, that's primarily where things are. Just, I think things are somewhat out of sync, thankfully, for our area as far as storms are concerned. But yeah, as we're looking 5:30, 6 o'clock or so, that front getting a little closer. But in general, all the more active weather out into Alabama. And so hopefully a sign that we are going to miss out on overall storm potential this time around. But if you're picking an outdoor day to do something outdoors and any kind of warmth matters to you, Saturday is your day. Sunday is going to be a big, big drop. Wait till we show you that here in a second. So Belzona, we're at 80, as well as Greenwood there for highs on your Saturday. Normalist time here, 67, so 13 degrees above that for those spots there. We're 76 in Tupelo and Amory for those high temperatures on Saturday. And again, most of us are probably dry. SEC football, let's talk about it here for a moment. Again, LSU and Alabama, that of our games is the most likely one to have some issues. Our Carl Hogan SEC football forecast, we're putting about 20% coverage in there. Hopefully all those are to the east, and we're kind of between those fronts for that game. But again, 6:30 kickoff could be an issue there in Tuscaloosa if that front kicks through with something. Georgia and Mississippi State, we are once again expecting that to be dry and fairly warm. By halftime there, again, 11 a.m. kick, it's probably peak heating there. That 75 feeling close to at least 80 to 85 there in the stadium in best case scenario. So it'll be a little hot. I mean, listen, we're not September hot here, but, we've also kind of adjusted to wearing, long sleeves, everything. So, I think a little warm if you're going to be going to the stadium there. I'd say also same forecast again for Ole Miss, as we are warm there for the Citadel coming to town. 73 first play. We're 74 by the halftime, and then 74 degrees at the final snap of that game. Okay, now that in front, as it kicks through, notice the dots here representing the strong winds. They definitely are kicking up behind this. You can see kind of racing in behind this front. I mean, really sweeping this through. And so it's just a big drop in temperatures. What that means is your warmest temperature on Sunday is going to come at 12:01 a.m. So technically speaking, we're going to have high temperatures that are probably around the 60-degree point that will go in the record books. It will never feel anywhere near that warm because this cold air is going to have those temperatures dropping. You can see we start maybe mostly clear Sunday morning. I think there'll be a little more cloud cover extending south of this than what Futurecast is indicating here on our strike model. It definitely builds in, and it's possible that it is milder when you go to church than when you come out of church because of the chilly conditions with this. It's going to be windy to breezy, and that cloud cover, no meaningful precipitation from that. Not impossible to get a drip or two of drizzle out of that, and then maybe clearing stuff out. The quicker we clear, the bigger the drop as we head into Sunday night and really honestly early Monday morning, where things get a little more active. And yeah, you're not deceived there. A little bit of wintry stuff back to the north and east. Long ways north and east. Not for us at all. Not enough moisture for that. Not cold enough for that on this initial wave. So again, high temperatures on Sunday, as you can see there, we're looking somewhere around the middle to upper 50s. Yeah, but the thing is that the actual temperatures are going to be a lot cooler than that. We start talking about afternoon wind chill factor. We're probably going to feel more like the mid 40s. So not a warm day, and obviously a big transition from where things were on Saturday. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast over the next few days. And again, Saturday, not impossible to see a few isolated showers around, but most of us are probably going to be dry. 76 that high. While we show 56 for the temperature on Sunday, it will never feel that warm. It's going to be a lot colder than that, as we're only 20s for morning lows by Monday, mid 40s by Monday afternoon, about all we can manage. And I think still enough of a northerly breeze that day, the thing that's kind of hiding behind that 28 is probably wind chills down around 20, if not a little colder than that. It is going to be a really chilly beginning to early Monday morning as the kids head back to school next week. And then 26 as we go toward Tuesday morning. That is cold enough that I think it's reasonable to keep a little drip going on the faucet if you're up there in northern Benton County, Tippah County, Alcorn County, Tishmingo County, where we could have maybe some 25s, 24s out there for morning lows if things kind of progress at the rate it looks like they could for the first part of next week. And then we're back upper 30s by Wednesday morning. Temperatures back up above normal as we head toward next week. This front that's moving in, what moisture we have, and again, moisture is the limiting factor as far as storms are concerned. It's going to shove that all out of here down to the south and east. So again, recapping an important note here on our forecast as we kind of slide back here to one of our beginning slides that we show here. The severe weather threats, again, confidence remains very low in the potential for severe weather out of these storms tonight. Very limited tornado threat is even probably overdoing it a little bit. Most of us, we are in good shape, and severe weather should not be a significant threat as far as tonight is concerned. And so I'll go back here again to Mississippi Live Weather Radar, our severe weather risk, as you can see, primarily to the north and east. And we go down the different specific criteria, the tornado threat, especially to the north and east, the wind threat, the main thing, as well as maybe some hailstones that we could see. But anytime you're looking at this graphic, this shows the number of reports, a very limited number. We're not hearing 2 or greater. That means we're not expecting to see a lot of reports. And 5 doesn't mean only 5 reports, but it means a lot greater chance of seeing something. And thankfully for us, that is largely not the case. Back here on Mississippi Live Weather Radar and its latest scans here, as we bring it back to the current time there, just kind of checking. I can tell that the atmosphere is stabilizing some. If I put this on a 1-hour loop, the fact we start seeing more bugs this time of day is a sign of the radar beam kind of bouncing around against some of those. Couple little sprinkles trying to develop, but all signs point to the more significant severe weather threat being to the north and east, where locations in the Tennessee Valley under that tornado watch. This is unlikely to be expanded into our area. There's just honestly, not enough instability in the atmosphere, and certainly the stronger winds aloft and more of everything it takes to produce thunderstorms more focused up to the north of us. In saying that, I still definitely recommend that you try to sign up for a weather call. The reason for that is things change in the forecast from time to time, and weather call keeps you ahead of whatever mess ups I make. National Weather Service, they're going to be watching things, of course, very closely. And so if you have weather call, it will let you know if you're in the danger zone. By no stretch of the imagination do I think we have issues with that in our area tonight. But as things get more active, November is that time of year where that starts happening. Make sure you have that weather call. And of course, also make sure you have that Mississippi Live weather app free and available for all of those different devices. And, you know, I know so many of you do have that app, and we appreciate you for trusting us here on Mississippi Live weather with that. But yeah, please just, you know, make sure you have that Mississippi Live weather app downloaded and ready to go. There was a new update released earlier this week, more efficient, better on data. And, you know, I think it is definitely worth the download. If you're one of the folks there watching us on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, the app is worthwhile. At the very top, it has our live feed. Anytime we're live, we're on there. Our next newscast is going to be coming up here, broadcast at 6 p.m. What are we doing at 6? Obviously, we're looking at the latest on how the radar trends are going. Are we going to get one of these that's strong enough developing in the area before they move out? That is one of the things we will work to answer here in the Room to Room Weather Center at 6 o'clock. Of course, updates at 10. If for any reason we have a situation where severe weather forms out of this, we're going to bring live coverage here in the Mississippi Live Weather app. I'm going to bring it back here once again to the virtual Room to Room Weather Center. Before we're all said and done here, I'm going to check over some of y'all's comments on Facebook, YouTube. I know a lot of you watch us still on those. Go Bulldogs, you know, looking ahead toward those SEC football forecasts for tomorrow. Appreciate y'all watching Ecru and Pratt's and all over the place here across North Mississippi, Red Bay. Shout out to y'all over there as well. Don't see a lot of comments in here, but don't see a lot of questions in here, just a lot of looking out, preparing, and thinking ahead so that we're in good shape. But again, the headline, the blue that you see behind me there, that is a tornado watch that is in effect until 10 p.m. for locations starting in Lauderdale County. We are south and east of that. This is not going to expand into our area. Maybe some of these thunderstorms develop and get a little stronger. We're looking at an updated version of Futurecast. We're at that time we'll get updated versions every hour to see if we can see additional development toward our area. We'll be addressing that coming up at 6 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you then.
By the time you see the symptoms of lung cancer, it could be too late. Now there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early. If you smoked, get scanned.
You wonder how they're going to experience the real world in real safety, where all kids are welcome and everyone has a path forward to new skills, advancement, leadership, something they will carry with them the rest of their lives.
Hey, before we're done here, you know, I guess bonus time here at the end. One thing that we encourage you to do as well is if you have the Mississippi Live Weather app, you can send in your weather photographs. We're not really in prime send in photograph season here, but you know we have been getting a few in the last couple of weeks here. So you know if you have those photographs that you would like to share with us, you know of course please do that, and we appreciate that. I'll see if I had one here that I was going to pull up, and then naturally I just closed the browser a second ago here. See if I can pull that back up. No, it doesn't want to pull back up. That's fine. You know how that goes. That's what I get for hitting refresh, right? To make sure we have all the latest on those there. But, you know, consider using the Mississippi Live Weather app for that. One of the things we pushed out on social media earlier today is that we're working with the folks at True Shield Roofing. They're going to be basically anytime we have 1 inch or larger hail, giving away a Walmart gift card. Now, this is something that when Foster, who is the owner of True Shield, approached me, I was like, really? And the more I thought about it, it's kind of a neat idea that, bad stuff happens when hail, and no one likes hail, and it's not like we're cheering for it. But if you happen to be the person that sends in the largest hailstone picture on a day where we have some large hail and you use the Mississippi Live Weather app, you could win a $100 gift card from the folks up there at True Shield Roofing. So we'll be using this particular product to assess the hail threat during severe weather as storms are moving through the area, how likely it is that storms are producing hail so that you can plan ahead as far as that's concerned when storms are doing that. But after the fact, if you send in those pictures using the Mississippi Live Weather app, that certainly is a way in which you can obviously make a little bit of money back on that. It's an interesting idea. I wasn't really sure what to think about it at first. Now I think it's great. So anyway, we're proud to be partnering with those folks at True Shield Roofing about that. Hopefully, make people's day just a little bit better when bad weather ends up hitting. Here's that picture I was trying to go with. See, all you have to do is make fun of the computer. I almost said computer, and it does a good job. So let me think. Here's that shot from Boonville last night. Kind of a cool picture here. I need to go back to, I know what I need to do. Anyway, that's kind of a weird shot there, but anyway, you can see kind of the golden sky last night. You got a better weather picture? Send those in using the Mississippi Live Weather app, and appreciate everyone who does that. Okay. We're going to go ahead, I think, and shut this down. Like James with the North Mississippi Storm Chaser said, hoping for an easy night vacation in the weather office on the Gulf Coast. I hear you there. I'm hoping tonight is a fairly easy night. Most indications are that it will be, but certainly we will see. And I'll hit this one more time. Make sure you have Mississippi Live Weather Call. It is that alert that will let you know if you're in the danger zone, if a tornado is moving toward you, which it works outside of here as well. For people that are outside of Mississippi, you put in your location and it'll take care of you. And that Mississippi Live Weather app does an excellent job with all those alerts as well. We want to think layers, because in severe weather, layers save lives. And so layer one more thing up on top of here, which is a different thing. Give me a moment. Just a reminder that it's important to kind of build that armor when we talk about severe weather. Make sure that you have those different layers there. Weather Call, the Mississippi Live Weather app, Code Red, and the NWS radio. And of course, that's the way next to me there to get that Mississippi Live Weather app. Okay, we will see you at 6 o'clock with any updates related to kind of the development of storms out there and the latest look at Futurecast. Thanks for joining us here on Mississippi Live at 5.